It's a pleasure to introduce somebody who needs no introduction in this group because he is so well known to all of us. Adam Tebrugge was graduated from New College of Florida in 1982 and from the Florida State University College of Law with high honors in 1984. He immediately joined the Public Defender's Office of the 12th Judicial Circuit and spent the next 23 years litigating all types of criminal cases. From the early 1990s forward, he was the chief trial attorney in the Homicide Division of the office. In 1999, he became board certified as a criminal trial attorney. In 2007, he was presented with the Freedom Award for Public Service by the Sarasota branch of the NAACP. In 2008, he received the Jim Slater Award for Professionalism in the Practice of Criminal Law, presented by the judges of the 12th Judicial Circuit. On January 1st, 2009, he received the Dyceburg Award for Peace and Justice. Additionally, he has served as president of the Sarasota County Civic League and on the board of directors of the Sarasota County Bar Association and the Suncoast Partnership to End Homelessness. And is a member of the community advisory boards with Mentoring Children of Promise and radio station WSLR. He is the host and co-producer of the television show Law and Sarasota, which has been on the air since 2005. And personally, Adam is one of my favorite Democrats, and it's always a pleasure to see him. When he campaigned as the public defender, he was frequently in Northport, frequently attended our meeting, and has been a good friend of Northport. Adam Tebrugge.
After that introduction, I have a little business to take care of. A couple of months ago, I got a nice letter from Bob saying that my dues were lapsed in the Northport Democratic Club. And so I hope that you will take me back. I didn't have a check, but I did have $20. Because I'd much prefer to speak to you as a member of this club. Northport is very special to me, and I have had the good fortune of spending a lot of time down here. And everywhere I go, I tell people about the Northport Democratic Club because I know how hard this club works. And even though I ended up losing my election in 2008, that wasn't Northport's fault. I carried all but 2 precincts here in Northport, and that was due to sheer effort. So on just a quick personal note, after the elections of 2008, I've ended up opening my law practice in downtown Bradenton. And I'm right across the street from the courthouse, and I'm doing serious criminal defense, and my practice has taken off. And things are going very well for me. In about 2005, my boss, the elected public defender, Elliot Metcalf, asked if I would take his place on the board of directors of the Suncoast Partnership to End Homelessness. And in 2009, I was asked to serve as chair of the board, proving that no good deed goes unpunished. As good as my law practice is going, this is really my primary effort that I'm engaged in these days. I'm spending a lot of time on the Sarasota County 10-year plan to prevent and end homelessness. And that's what I wanted to speak with you all about tonight and get a little input from you as well. Other communities around our nation have engaged in similar planning processes. And I was just at another speech here in Northport, so I'm a little disorganized. But in particular, I want you to know that Manatee County in 2006 did their 10-year plan to end homelessness. And now, 5 years later, we can go through this plan and we can actually check off the accomplishments of things that have happened in Manatee County. And the most noteworthy is that they've opened a one-stop center right across the street from McKechnie Field, where the Pirates play spring training. And it's an old furniture store that they were able to get some money, buy the furniture store, rehabilitate it, and now as you look at it, on the left, Our Daily Bread, that serves meals to hundreds of people every day of the year. Next door to Our Daily Bread, washing machines, showers, clothes. Next to that, service providers like the VA, mental health, job training. Next to that, dentist and doctor's offices. Next to that, a donation center for bicycles and clothing. And the clients of the One Stop Center go work in the donation center to help rehabilitate the products that come in. At the other speeches I've been giving around the area, I'm very careful to not be partisan. But what the heck? I'm with the Democrats tonight, right? So let me tell you, the Obama administration has done some terrific work in the area of homelessness. Last year, the federal strategic plan for ending homelessness came out. And the federal plan wants to work with communities that have their own plan in place. And one thing I'm really pleased to tell you about is, for years we've known that veterans were particularly at risk for homelessness. So the very first group that the Obama administration decided that they wanted to move out of homelessness was our veteran population. And the statistics that are coming in right now are overwhelming, that it appears that we may have been able to reduce homelessness amongst veterans by a significant amount in just the last couple of years. And I'm here to tell you that when veterans come to us right now and ask for help, we can put them in touch with services almost immediately. There are vouchers available. The VA is doing outreach efforts, and it's tremendous. And there's a group here in Sarasota County some of you might be familiar with called Veterans for Common Sense. And Veterans for Common Sense has been helping me with outreach. And they've been going into the camps, and they've been going to some of the public feedings and other places and helping identify veterans who are in need of services. And we really think that we can accomplish this goal of ending homelessness amongst our veterans in a short period of time. Let me tell you something else that was great about the Obama administration. Remember the stimulus money? And remember the criticism that we hear from some of the uninformed about stimulus money? And saying, oh, where did that money go to? Where were the jobs associated with that? Well, remember that one-stop center I just told you about? I went there a few months ago to see what they had spent $800,000 of stimulus money on. And what they had spent it on was solar panels for the roof. And they had a crane, where you could get up on the crane and look down on the furniture store and on all the beautiful solar panels that were set up there. And in the first month of operation, they wiped out 90% of their electric bill. Now that's how you have sustainability when you're trying to help people out. You eliminate the overhead, and you can know then that the money that is coming in from the community is going to direct services. So those are some of the exciting things that are going on in Manatee County. But we don't have a plan in Sarasota County right now. So my board of directors last year said, we're going to do a 10-year plan to end homelessness in Sarasota County. And it took us months of work to get ready to kick off the plan. And I set it for a Saturday morning, February 5th, in Sarasota. And my executive director, Richard Martin, a former mayor of Sarasota, and we traveled around and we tried to get support from service providers, from government, from law enforcement, from the business community, and most importantly, from citizens who are presently homeless. And when I met with the people at the church, They said, Adam, how many people do you expect to show up? I said, 100. They said, you're not going to get 100 people to talk about homelessness on a Saturday morning. I said, well, you know what, we're going to try. And we showed up that Saturday morning, and with all of our planning, we hadn't realized that the city of Sarasota had an art fair for that day. And the streets were closed, and all of our parking was gone. And I just said, I can't worry about that right now. I'm just going to put blinders on. And I went inside, and when we threw open the doors at 8:30 in the morning, there was a line of people around the block. And by the end of the day, we had 350 people turn out to work on homelessness. And the key thing when you have a big community meeting like that is to keep the momentum going. And so what we've done is we've broken into 5 work groups. And the first, and perhaps the most important work group, is the shelter and housing group. And fortunately, I've got a great facilitator for that. And we're looking at all types of housing: emergency shelter, supported living for those who can't take care of themselves, transitional housing for those coming out of addiction or mental health facilities, affordable housing for families. We have a prevention work group, because what we have found is it's far cheaper to keep people in their homes than it is to rehouse them after they have lost their homes. We have a health and human services work group, and I've got doctors and nurses and nurse practitioners and the county health department, and we're trying to figure out how we can get health care out to homeless citizens. We have a public safety and outreach group, because homeless citizens are particularly vulnerable to crime. And you need to have good relationships with law enforcement. So if they have a homeless citizen who's a witness in a case, you can find that person again. And of course, there are some collateral consequences of homelessness. There's been some tension in downtown Sarasota, and we're working to alleviate that problem, because frequently law enforcement is caught in the middle between citizens who are complaining, and yet they don't want to necessarily fill the jails with homeless citizens. And so I've gotten some really good support from the Sarasota Police Department on this project. And we have, perhaps most importantly, an economic development and jobs group. Because I'll tell you, we've had really good participation from citizens who are homeless. And the number one message I am hearing from them, they want to work. A lot of the people who are homeless right now is because they've lost their jobs and there's no prospects for them right now. And I'm trying to involve the business community to help get people back to work. Well, I'm not taking responsibility for any of the good efforts that have come out of this project so far. I'm just trying to harness everybody's energies, because we've got about 500 people total who are working on this 10-year plan. And the idea behind a 10-year plan is not that we're going to wait 10 years to help people, but to move out of the crisis management model. You know, if you went to any service provider tonight, they're trying to help that family on this particular evening, and I understand that. But what do we want this community to look like going forward? What do we want Northport to look like 5 years from now, 10 years from now? What kind of services do you want here in Northport? Well, I've had 3 big community meetings in the city of Sarasota, and for anyone who's interested, our next meeting down there is Friday, May 13th at 2 o'clock at the Church of the Redeemer. And that's where my work groups are meeting, and we're about halfway through the process right now. But back late March, early April, I held a community meeting at the South County Commission Chambers. Got about 60, 70 people out on a Friday afternoon and learned a lot about the needs of Venice. Northport, it's your turn. I have not yet picked the date. I held a meeting an hour or so ago where I was trying to get input from some of the people who are involved in homelessness issues right now. But I'm going to be looking towards a Friday afternoon, Saturday morning, in late May, early June, somewhere around there. Anybody who is interested in the issue of homelessness, I want you to come out to this community meeting and come with your wish list and come tell me what's working down here and come tell me what's not working, where are there gaps in services. Because you know what we find out? We find out there's lots of people trying to help. There's lots of individuals trying to help. There's lots of churches that are trying to help. But what we know is that as a partnership, we are strong, far stronger than we are as individuals.